two questions that we got. Obviously, with the draft being in the books now, rookie minicamp being in the books as well, step closer to the season. The question was, there's a lot of hype going on about a lot of these players. The person pretty much said that Rashard Smith's getting a lot of love, but I just don't see him getting a lot of playing time this year. I just don't think it's realistic with the guys ahead of him. I think some fans are kind of overhyping it or excited with the pick, but it may not translate to this year at least, which there is some, I will say yes, it's a running back.
Come on, man. This is a loaded room.
It's a loaded room, yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying that's one of the spots where it's tough to kind of be the guy, especially with that position specifically.
Yeah.
So my question is to you, JD, kind of looking at the draftees. We got both the offense guys on one side and the defensive guys on the other side there. Which rookie do you think is going to have the biggest rookie year impact based on the draft class that we had? Because that's what they really wanted to know. Which guy should they be kind of looking at going into this 2025 season before we get to training camp?
Man.
My answer to that was Gelati, just because.
So I was going to say too. That's what I was going to say too.
Just because with that position, there's a lot of rotations going in and out, and if he's cooking, they're going to let him in to go attack the quarterback.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And the thing is, when you're looking at, offensive line tackle is like one of those things, staple. Jalen Moore is there. Josh Simmons, we're going to give him some time to get ready, whatever it may be. And then you go Norman-Lott, that Chris and those guys inside. I do believe that Gelati might be the guy for the simple fact you're going to have some rotation on, obviously defensive tackle to defensive end. But like you said, if Gelati gets out there and he's cooking, it looks really good, especially on passing downs. And like I'm saying this, like, let's say you move, Menahu down to inside. Like him and Chris can play beside each other. And Gelati's on us outside. That looks good. I think Menahu out there, man, is going to make a lot of plays for sure with him in there. But Gelati might be able to make a staple for himself. I mean, he might be able to make some noise, especially at the position. Other than that, who's to say? Let's just say. So I'm gonna give you one. Let me give you one. Just in case the whole Rashid Rice thing happens, right?
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
Okay, and he happens to miss a few games. We're gonna need somebody to come in and have a big body, catch the football, make some plays that Royals absolutely fits into. He can fit into their role, especially if they're giving him reps. If he plays like we think he can play, and how they say he's really kind of a steal in the draft. Because somebody asked me, like, who's the steal? I'm like, Simmons was my guy, okay? And he's not a steal because I knew he was going to be the first pick. Should have been. If he wasn't that, then it would have been a travesty. I said, but maybe the steal for us might have been Royals. I mean, and then Gelati, because of what he brings to the table as well. So it's hard to say, man, who could be that? But because we're kind of a little bit in the dark with Rashid, that's only, I think, Bolton might have a shot. Not Bolton, Royals. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said Bolton. But Royals might have a shot to come in and actually display some of the things that we got him here for. What do you think?
I could definitely see that. The three guys I would say, if I were to tier it up with the three, I'd probably go Gelati, I go Lott, and I go Bassa. I go with three of the defensive guys, just because Bassa. I mean, putting him in there, so many different packages. You could also make the argument for Knoll, but the reason why I would say maybe not him is because they do have Fulton, McDuffie, and Jalen Watson. So those are three guys who are going to be out there primarily, and unless he dominates during training. That's the thing. We don't know yet, because once training camp comes, if these guys prove they can be on the field, they're going to be on the field. That's how our team is. I mean, they go with they go with the guy who can be out there.
So are you saying that is that DB? Is that spot open? Is that open?
What the number 2 spot?
Yeah, DB. Is it open?
Oh, for sure. I think it's wide open. I'm just giving it. I'm giving the upper hand to Fulton just because they gave him that big contract this past offseason.
Okay.
That's the only reason why I would say him. But
All right.
100%, it's open.
All right. Okay.
They're both new to the team and then new to the system, so they both have a shot for it.
All right. Okay. All right. That's what I wanted to know. I wanted you to say, it's not Fulton, it's not, Watson. It's a wide open spot. So you come in training camp, we know they're battling for that number 2 spot, right?
But you'd agree the guy who got paid $15 million is getting the upper hand at that spot just because we paid him a lot of money.
Absolutely. That should be your starter. Yeah. You better be your starter. You pay him that much money.
Yeah.
Heck, he's getting paid more than Trent McDuffie.
Right? That's funny. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Well, because the reason why I'd say Noel's behind those guys because familiarity Watson has been the number 2 guy, and then Fulton is the higher paid of all 3 of those guys. So then I was like, so he's behind them, and then on the other hand, Bossa, the different types of packages they can. This package is so unique with his packages. Bossa might get a lot of playing time, especially if we need an athletic guy to cover the RBs because same stories happened from last year where we can't cover a tight end or a running back. And you know what, Bossa, get in there. We may see a little bit of him. But I lean the D-line guys ahead of all the other ones just because so many rotations, so many breaks given to the big guys up front. I think you'll see the major impact right away. The safer bets is Gelati and Norman-Lott just for the rotations of all the guys on D-line.
Okay. Damani Greenbean says this. He said Royals will have a lot to learn. Probably won't get a chance to really fully play. I think I seen him in an interview. He was sitting there saying that there was a lot to learn, but he said he's picking it up. He said, matter of fact, because he's been in a couple of systems, a couple of places, that it's easier for him, the terminology and, figuring out what they need to do. So that part wasn't as difficult because he has been at different places. And so there's a lot of carryover. And it is just terminology. It's, where they fit, but also utilization, the variance of where he may be in the offense, right? Because it ain't just your typical X, your Y, or your Z, right? Or your F and an H. You have other guys that they name them as far as like your formation and your personnel. So, but I think, man, he's got kind of upper hand coming in here. He seemed like he was doing okay with it. So Damani Greenbeans, I'm saying, man, if Rashee Rice is going to be out, somebody mentioned Sky. There's some other guys that's going to be jumping up in there, but you get a guy like this, he's definitely going to contend for that spot.
Let me ask you, just as we're talking, obviously we're going to get into the different position groups as we inch closer to training camp, like we always do every year on our Monday shows. But just curious because we're talking about Royals right now. So without Rice's suspension, I'm looking at the top 5 guys as Rice, Worthy, Hollywood, Juju, and Royals. I would say the top 5 is loosely. And then Remigio, and then you got the Badgers of the world, Justin Ross of the world, Sky Moores of the world, all the fun names that we like to bring up. Do you think Juju is a lock to make the roster? Because someone that threw that out there the other day commented on Twitter saying that Juju's and people keep penciling in Juju. He's no longer a lock to make the roster anymore. He got cut from the Patriots last year. He is an elder statesman in the room, but my retort to that was it depends how those other guys look. If Badger looks like the guy, a steal, undrafted free agent, then sure. If Sky Moore is looking like the guy that we drafted a couple of years back, then yes. I don't think Juju is a lock to make the roster. Would be my retort. I don't think he is a lock anymore.
I think he is. The reason I say that is because I think you need experienced guys out there. I think you need guys that can help younger guys develop. There's things that Juju does that maybe the other receivers just don't do. Juju is one hell of a blocker. He don't mind going in and sticking his nose to block a linebacker or a safety. And he does a very good job of it. Some other wide receivers may not be as inviting to come in and do that type of job. I'm just going to be honest with you. Unless you can actually find a guy that could, who's willing to come in and do that. Juju knows how to get open. He knows how to make plays. And having a guy like that there gives you a sense of comfort to know that a guy that's been here who almost caught, I keep going to this, almost 80 balls just a couple of years ago, Marcus. Okay. I keep telling y'all that. People keep, Juju. Well, look, there's a lot of young guys out here, right? And look, I get it. I do. I'm not saying that these young talent can't kick him out of here. I just think for me, the practical thing would be Juju being an older guy, experienced guy. I would sit there and say it'd be hard to cut a Juju because of the youth that you have in there. Seriously. And so that's something you got to think about because, all right, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. When we had a couple of years ago, MVS, Kadarius Toney, some other guys, and there was things that came out. The guys didn't want to work. They didn't want to put any extra effort into practice, all those different things. That was a major, black eye, seriously, that didn't need to happen. And so part of that could have been immaturity or whatever, like different guys' characters. I'm not saying maybe immaturity, but certain guys' characters are saying, who's going to put that type of work in? We know Juju is going to be a guy that's going to be able to work. The only reason he got cut up there in New England because he was hurt. He was injured. And they got some really young guys that could actually do a lot of what he can do. Them jokers hadn't won without him. So Juju went up there after almost catching 80 balls here. I forgot how many yards, almost 900 yards, maybe 800 something. I'm not even sure. I'll look up the stats, but still, he's a very capable guy. He's always has been in the NFL. So a guy that can catch 80 balls, and he's not catching 80 balls for you now, but he's still a capable receiver. We seen him at the end of the year, Marcus. Who was catching balls for us? It was Juju. That sucker started showing up everywhere. Like, man, look at Juju catch about 4 balls here and stuff like that. So he still has an ability about him. Laura Zinkser makes a very great point. Juju is a lock. We lost Watson, someone Mahomes can trust. Absolutely. Not just Mahomes, but the coaching staff can trust. Those are the guys that are going to go talk to Juju like, hey, Juju, hey, man, we need for you to, say something. Get your voice up. Because all the coaches don't want to do it all the time. Sometimes it's got to be, you got to police yourselves. I don't know if Juju's that guy, but it seems like he is. And maybe he don't have to be the one that's vocal. Maybe it's just the way that he works. Maybe it's the way he approaches practice. Those things, those guys like that are so vital to a team. And their success. It really is. So that's why I sit there and say that. Yeah, you're going to have talented guys, but guys like Juju is hard to replace. It really is. It really is. So that's why I say that. That's why I say that he's a lot.
That's fair. Yeah. I mean, because you look at the room outside of Hollywood, it's a lot of young bucks on the squad. So,
yeah. Who's the next oldest guy?
Sky Moore.
Sky, right?
Yeah.
Well, somebody was asking on here, and I was going to address that too. Okay? Everybody laugh at Sky. Look. I think Justin Blackwell said if you talked about guys that get drafted get cut, explain Sky. Okay, that's funny. But Sky caught some balls here while he was here. They liked it. Sky was a second round pick for a reason because he has ability. Now, Sky got caught up in all of that too when MVS and all those guys are there. Now, look, I'm not really downplaying these dudes and stuff like that, but there was a point at a time where these guys had it figured out. At first, it was like, okay, what are we getting out of the guys? Are guys really dedicated and stuff like that? Now, things have changed, okay? Somebody had to take over. And so, Embry in his first year, he had to sit it down. Embry's look, he's been around the game before. His pops coached me. He knows what guys you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to be a professional. So he's seen it. He knows it. And so maybe some of those things that was coming out was like, okay, this ain't really the Chiefs way or how we do things. This ain't Green Bay. This ain't New York. Anyway, no, sir. You want to be good? And suckers are sitting over there, balls popping all off their head and off the back of. No, sir. No, sir. You want to be great? You want to do those things? Put the work in. Put the work in. Delmonte Green Bean, would y'all leave Sky Moore alone? He just makes a play. Don't say that. Yeah, man. Y'all let Sky, man. Let him live. That guy.
Would you agree? Would you agree he's not a lock to make the roster anymore at this point?
No, I wouldn't say that. He might be the one that's on the cusp of guys that they sit there saying like, "Hey, man, it's either make or break."
Right.
Seriously, and a lot of it has to be, he's had injuries too. He's had injuries. He's a guy. Look, a guy I would love to have on Chief Concerns is Sky Moore. I would love to have Sky Moore here. I really would. I'd like to talk to him. So I know.
I would love to pick his brains to see. Because everyone's on social media. I'd love to know how he is taking all the blowback that he's heard, and how that's fueling him to kind of drive this next year. Yeah.
So
now, interesting. We do have another question about the practice squad and receivers. Perry, I've never seen the name before. Perry, great question here. Question: do you all see this as a turnover year on the practice squad? Badger for Ross, among others. It depends on who makes who makes the receiver room and how many they keep. Because Badger, from what I'm reading, Badger's a guy who could definitely make the team. And if he plays well, performs, they're not going to let that guy go to a practice squad because he'll be claimed by one of the Panthers of the world, those types of teams.
Listen, the NFL is called not for long. There's a reason. Sometimes they can, stand you and put up with you for a while. But if they see younger talent come in, they can and they will replace you. They can. So, but Badger, he's going to show more than Ross. You're going to show more. You don't just come here because, like I said, we like you. You have to show that you deserve to be here. Pure and simple. That's how it works. So, it ain't just a turnover on practice squad. Shoot, guys on practice squad just haven't got that opportunity. But if a dude comes in and he does look better than the guys that's on practice squad, absolutely it's going to be a turnover. That's it's the NFL.
Yeah. Nana Sherry says, after last interview, I want Lovett off of practice squad on all 53. I think he will be one of the guys who is on the 53.
Too.
All right.
She said, Linda Hunter said, if you have Sky on, you may want to turn off the tech. Oh, man, we don't want everybody to be gracious here. We would want that,
Yeah, so, we hope we can trust you guys to be cordial and nice to the guy. He's using his time to come on our show. I hope you guys keep some of your negative comments to yourself on Sky Moore. Yeah.
And listen, look, he wears a Chiefs uniform, man. We ride for him. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
So that's what we're gonna do.
So the opposite question to this. So that was the biggest impact. Who do you think is going to make the least impact? And I kind of what you said, JD. It kind of boils out two guys, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's depending on what happens to Josh Simmons and his injury. So if they decide no, we're gonna let you sit for the year, then obviously Josh Simmons. And then on the other hand, the Brashard Smith situation. How much playing time is he going to get? How many running backs are they going to keep? Is he going to be a third down back? Is he going to be a special teams guy? I think it comes down to those two. Because outside of that, I see everybody from Royals to all the defensive guys playing and getting some playing time this year. So I think it boils down to the two of the offensive guys. Where do you stand on that?
No, I think it's a fair statement. I think we said it all, really, because it is based off of guys that's going to play in front of you. Like you said, if Jalen Moore's in and he's doing a great job, then hey, you don't remove him if he's doing a banged up job. Same thing with Rasheed Rice. He don't lose and he doesn't get misses a number of games. So we don't know. Brashard, same thing. We don't know about that. Shoot, Noah Williams. You can start naming all these guys, right? So I think we all said it all, man.
Agreed. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.